Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad.
Why, hello there, all you wonderful and beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And let me tell ya, one thing that I know about this episode in particular is that this is gonna be a lot of fun. I actually got a whole bunch of fascinating stories here. Definitely plenty of things that are worth talking about, and unfortunately I'm not gonna go and cover all of them, but I've definitely selected the ones that are the most fascinating to talk about and the ones that really have captured my eye. So keep in mind, this will be a little bit more of a Disney-centric episode, but we will still definitely have a lot of fun with discussing about the things that has happened throughout this week. Now, before I go and begin, however, I would like to go and talk a little bit about a few people who have unfortunately passed away. As you guys may have recalled, this week was sadly the week in which Cloris Leachman has unfortunately passed away. You may know as the legendary actress and legendary comedian who has appeared in numerous of different movies and TV shows and stuff like that, including the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Young Frankenstein, The Last Picture Show, and many others. And she also has done some very notable voiceover work, including just recently with the Croods movies, playing as Granny, and even being involved with the English dub of Studio Ghibli's Castle in the Sky. However, there is also another death that did happen this week that I would argue is actually more tragic than Cloris Leachman, and that is regarding actress Jeanette Mays, who sadly passed away, I believe at the age of 39, due to colon cancer. And if you don't know Jeanette Mouse. Sorry about that. Yes, it's actually Jeanette Mouse. And for those of you who don't know Jeanette Mouse, actually it was just recently that she just got her big break when she was noted to voice several characters, including one or some of the Witch Sisters in Resident Evil Village, which right now is the #1 game that a lot of people are talking about, especially when people are having a massive crush on the girls, including Lady Dimitrescu, which I am guilty of being a little bit thirsty for her as well. Like, oh my god, I would definitely consider her a goddess. But anyways, this is not about any crushes or anything like that. This is about the unfortunate passing of Jeanette Mouse, which really is sad that right now she was about to get her massive break, especially for a highly anticipated video game, which right now seems to be a major highlight of 2021 in pop culture, but she sadly won't see the full outcome of her work, sadly. So I just want to mention about for both Leachman and for Mouse that may they both rest in peace. Okay, so now with that out of the way, I think it is time that we shall now go and be ready to go and begin this episode. So I would like to go into the chat wall. Are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you ready? Let me see those comments over here. Are you ready? Oh, okay. They're starting up. They're starting a little bit. Okay, that's good. Good. That is perfect to hear. And now with all that said and done, I believe it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story that we have for you today, what I'm going to be talking about is actually regarding a couple of trailers that just came out. And with the first one that we have, I will be honest, I was a little bit surprised seeing that this trailer actually just got released this week. I thought that maybe we would have gotten it a little bit later, but then again, we could argue that the release date is much sooner than expected. And technically the last time that we have fully seen this one, it was just a teaser trailer. A long teaser trailer, but just a teaser nonetheless. So with all that said and done, let me just go and get ready on my end here, because we are about to begin by watching the trailer for Raya and the Last Dragon. So here we go.
Alright, guys.
Oop, oh, sorry. That should be important. I forgot to go and plug in my my headphones. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. Alright. Now we could go and get things ready. I knew there was one thing that I was missing.
Alright, guys. Remember what we're looking for. And don't trust anyone.
Whoa, what?
Hey, baby. Where are your parents? Hey, who's baby? What? Really? A con baby? Impressive. We could use someone like you. Let's catch you up. My name is Raya. Our lands have been at war for as long as we can remember. Our people never see eye to eye.
My daughter, I believe our people can come together again. But someone has to take the first step.
Now, in order to restore peace, we must find the last dragon.
I wish to join this fellowship of butt kickery.
Let's go. We'll have to watch our backs. We're not the only ones looking. 6 years of searching. Please let this be it. Oh, mighty Sisu!
Who said that?
We really need your help.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not like the best dragon. Have you ever done like a group project, but there's like that one kid who didn't pitch in as much, but still ended up with the same grade?
We're doomed.
You and the dragon are coming with me.
My sword here says we're not. The world's broken. You can't trust anyone.
Maybe it's broken because you don't trust anyone. You just have to take the first step. I just shape changed.
Dragons can do that?
Look how close my butt is to my head. It's gonna make digestion so much faster.
In theaters or ordered on Disney Plus with Premier Access, March 5th.
Yes, that was Raya and the Last Dragon. Hold on a sec. There we go, just to place it correctly. So, yeah, I was definitely surprised. I wasn't expecting that this trailer would actually be released this week, or that we would actually get a lot more of a first look fully into Raya and the Last Dragon. And one thing that I would say, not only was I surprised that this was released, but probably my biggest surprise from this trailer in particular was actually regarding the tone. Because beforehand with Raya and the Last Dragon, they were pretty much promising this epic and very action-packed animated feature. And while there is still some of that in here, I was quite surprised to actually find that with this trailer in particular, they really leaned a lot towards the comedic element, especially regarding the especially with the start where you have the con baby and the little monkeys where they were trying to screw over Raya. And at that point, not only do you see like the tone actually getting a bit more of a comedic edge, more so than anything that is action-packed, but on top of that, like you look into some of the animation, especially like with the chase scene over here. No, hold on a sec, sorry. Let me just go and mute that so you can actually hear me a bit more. But you may notice that within the animation, you notice that with the monkeys and with the baby, that it's a little bit more on the cartoonier side, more so than you see with the animation on Raya, for example, that the characters have a lot more of a bounce to them, that especially with this shot when they're jumping on the boats, you notice that with the monkey and the baby, there's a lot more of a squash and stretch, that they really do play with the comedic effects here. So that's one thing that did surprise me a little bit, with a bit of that comedic edge. But I will say though, like in the beginning, even though it just seems a bit of a surprise that it tries to be a little bit more funnier than I expected, it still does work. I will admit that like the shots that they have shown it was actually quite funny, including like the one over here at the start, like where you actually see the baby like jumping over Raya, and it's like, bye. Like that, I will give it that there are some moments that it is effective actually. But then there's also another part that I do find where the comedy is not as strong as it was like at the start here with the whole chase scene with the con baby and the little monkeys. And that is actually regarding with the character of the last dragon herself, which is, as you may know, is voiced by Aquafina. And probably, I would say, if there is a weak part to it, or what is the weakest part of the trailer, it would have to be like after we see the title and we actually do see the dragon being transformed into a human, and then Aquafina just throws out a little bit of a digestion joke. And I'm not saying that it really is bad, but for me, I just feel like, considering that it is a more action-packed Disney film, I just feel like that kind of humor just feels a little bit out of place. And I mean, yeah, I should have been, like, I shouldn't really be surprised because, like, technically this is Aquafina voicing a cartoon character, but then again, I actually am, because, like, with that kind of joke that we have at the end, that one I feel like it would be something that would be more in place from, like, another studio than Disney. Like, yeah, like, that kind of digestion joke, like, you'd expect that, like, somewhere more from a DreamWorks movie, or an Illumination movie, or a Sony movie. You know, someone, you know, a studio that would be more likely to do that kind of joke more so than Disney, especially if they want to use that to try to market the movie. So for me, I just feel like with those elements, like, I'm not saying they're terrible, I'm not saying they're cringy, but they do feel out of place, especially for not just a Disney film, but for a Disney movie that that does try to be a little bit more action-packed. Now, with that said, does that lower any of my expectations for this feature film? No, because I will say that there are still a lot of things in here that are still great. Like, number one, there is no denying that the animation is still massively gorgeous. Like, you look at the backgrounds that they have made, and especially all the different characters that they got, the action scenes, they are beautifully well done. They are highly detailed. This is a beautifully crafted movie. At least you are promised that the animators have done quite an impeccable job with this one. So at least you will get a massive visual feast that is not necessarily Asian, but Asian inspired. So that is one thing that I am definitely looking forward to. That, and also there is the action that I'm highly excited about, and they are definitely promising that there is a whole bunch of that. Yeah, like, this trailer is leaning a little bit more towards the comedy elements, and maybe introducing us to the characters that are involved, like the con baby, but then, like, you also got, like, other characters as well. Like, you got this slick kid, and then, like, you got this, like, big badass dude with an eye patch that wants to join in the fight, like being the whole big brawn of the group. Yeah, it's meant to be more comedic. Maybe this is more a trailer that's meant to appeal more towards kids, you know, to make it funnier, to show us who the silly characters are. Yeah, you got like a whole bunch of that. But then at the same time, you also got the major promises of the fight scenes, where, like, you do see a little bit of the villain and the fight and the battles that Raya will get into, especially like when you do see Raya. I actually, just a quick moment where she actually does have that Ivy sword. Well, I don't know what would be the name of that sword specifically, but I'm saying the Ivy sword because it's the same kind of sword that Ivy from the Soul Calibur game has, where it's simultaneously a sword, but it can also detach itself to become a whip. And those scenes, I will say, are actually really cool. And you do have other moments as well, like like you get promises of like plenty of other fight scenes, that even the dragon herself will also be involved. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of action that they are promising. But at the same time, there is also another thing that I am definitely looking forward to that they teased a little bit, and I would love to see that they would go and explore more. And that is actually this moment. It's a quote, so just take a moment to like hear this again. What Raya and the dragon is saying.
You can't trust anyone.
Maybe it's broken because you don't trust anyone.
So basically the quote that they are saying, and even some people in the comments on this YouTube video from Disney Animation, that I remember someone even quote that and it got really popular, like people love that. Or hold on a sec, or did it go away? Fudge nabbit, that it could be. Yeah, that there could be a chance. But the quote is basically that Raya feels like you cannot trust anyone because the world is broken. But then the dragon responds by saying that maybe the world is broken because you don't trust anyone. And that is actually a pretty deep message that, honestly, I would be excited to see if Disney can really explore that. If they can really make that the moral of the story of how you can actually find hope within the world, when you would have this pessimistic view that, like, screw the world, everybody sucks, you're mostly on your own and stuff like that. Because honestly, considering that I am near my 30s, and so are plenty of my friends that are in their late 20s or mid 20s and stuff like that, that they would also already have a bit of a pessimistic view on the world. Just say screw everyone, like the world is just a bitter and cold, dark place. Honestly, I do feel like it is a pretty important and fascinating message that I want to see this movie really explore more. Like, if that is going to be a major theme, if that's going to be the heart of the movie, then I would definitely be on board to see what more they could say, because I just got a feeling that with that little quote right there might be so much more to explore with that little quote that they could say that could really resonate with the message of the whole movie, because technically that is the big goal Raya is trying to do with this entire feature film, is to try to go and unite all these different places so that they can all work together. You know, they used to be all separated, everybody hates each other, so maybe Raya can find a way for all these different villages to combine together so that they could all fight against this one great evil, and to do that is to go and summon the last dragon. So hopefully, there could be, like, what I'm trying to say is that there definitely is some amazing potential they got there, and I definitely do hope that Disney could really explore that, because if so, then they probably got a major winner here. So overall, I would say that I'm still very much optimistic about Raya and the Last Dragon. I still consider it one of my most anticipated movies of 2021. And even though I will say, yeah, some of the comedy here, like in the trailer, it's a little bit hit and miss, yes, but I feel like with what we have gotten so far with Raya and the Last Dragon, especially with the animation, the promise of all the action scenes, and the possible heart of the story where they would go with a thought-provoking moral, I think Disney could have another major winner here. And especially with the fact that it has been more than 4 years now since Disney has released an original movie that is not a sequel. Yeah, I think this is something that a lot of people are definitely looking forward to, and hopefully this is going to be something that Disney will deliver. So I'm going to be really anticipating for this one, and hopefully we will see how Raya and the Last Dragon will be when the movie comes out both in theaters and on Disney Plus on March 5th. Okay, so with that said, I'd like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, what do you all think about this trailer of Raya and the Last Dragon? Is this hyping you up more to see the movie? Are you a little bit more iffy about it? Did this change your opinion on Raya and the Last Dragon? Let me know what you think right now. Okay, let's see what we got here now. While the first trailer for Raya excites me, this trailer does not. The comedy doesn't feel that fitting for a more action-packed movie, especially the group project joke, which I feel doesn't fit in the movie's setting. It's probably still going to be great, but now I'm a bit worried. Also, the fact that this movie is most likely going to cost $30 to watch on Disney Plus, since it is on Premiere Access, just makes me want to ask Disney, did you learn nothing from the Mulan remake? Yeah, I mean, like, right now, it's at the point where it's kind of like a complicated thing. And, like, yeah, a lot of people are going to note about, like, Soul is going to be that one massive exception that people got it for free. But that, honestly, a lot of people, I feel like at this point, people are going to be asking the wrong question. Like, a lot of people are going to ask, why is Raya and the Last Dragon not free instead of being like Soul, when the real question should be, why was Soul free instead of all the others? I think that should be the real question to go and ask, because I think, honestly, the Premiere Access thing is going to be the norm. And I know, like, technically, like, some people could say that Bob Chapek said otherwise, but nah, I think that's going to be the standard for, at least for 2021. But I do understand your worry with the comedy, because I definitely agree. I do feel like it is the weakest asset that they do show in this trailer, rather it be with Awkwafina acting like this, she's acting no differently than how she did like in the Angry Birds movie 2 or something like that, So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. This movie looks pretty good. The animation looks absolutely amazing. Some of the cartoony scenes are funny, and the story is interesting with the rival tribe. The rivalry between Raya and the villain, and the world views it might explore. Also, does anyone get Mulan vibes when watching this? You got an action-packed, Asian-themed animated Disney film with a female warrior protagonist and a comedic dragon sidekick. Yeah, that is true. I think that could be more of a coincidence, but I mean, it's not like Disney is literally trying to make another Mulan here. But yeah, I can understand. I got a feeling this is going to be a bit of a trend where people will try to do some Mulan comparisons here. What else do we got here? Let's see. This movie looks epic. The animation is gorgeous and the action looks highly engaging. And I will admit that there were a few jokes that did make me chuckle. However, I don't know what it is about the story, but I feel like it's kind of familiar. Like, I've seen this kind of plot before, and I don't think it's Avatar, but other than that, I can't wait for this. It could be a possibility, and I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong there, so maybe there is a chance, but then again, I'm not gonna say, like, if there is some familiarities, because, like, keep in mind, this is just a trailer, so we'll just wait and see on that. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's see. I'll admit it, this film looks like it's gonna slap. The animation is phenomenal, Raya herself seems like a really dope protagonist, and the moral they're going with is pretty deep. Should my theaters be open by then, I'll definitely check it out. If not, I'll need to find myself a way to get $30. By the way, just a heads up, I don't know if I'll be staying for a while. I think my sister is in labor. Oh, fudge. Well, better get to that. Better get to it. And also, congratulations for your sister. Oh, crap. Yeah, I can definitely see why. Yeah, definitely skip this podcast and go see your sister. I think that's much more of an important issue right now. Woo, diddly. Anyways, let's see. I am definitely excited for Raya and the Last Dragon. It looks like a great anime-influenced movie that could be hard PG rated, and definitely reminds me of stuff like X-Men, the animated series from the 90s. It definitely looks like a good change of pace for the company. I hope you at least get 2 more sequels after this and a TV PG show on Disney Plus. Can't wait. Well, then again, with the fact, like, already this is our first time for Disney Animation in years that, like, this is not a sequel, and already you're asking for more sequels? I mean, come on, dude. I mean, like, why not have a good long break from sequels in general? Anyways, what else do we got here now? I can already tell this is going to be epic. The animation is beautiful, the animation looks exhilarating, and Sisu looks like she's going to be a fun character. In terms of how I'm going to see it, if theaters in my area aren't open around March 20-ish, then I will watch it on Disney+. Otherwise, I will try to see it on the big screen, and be sure to stay safe. I'm honestly kind of surprised that there are more people saying, like, I'm gonna watch this on the big screen. Like, I know, like, I think I'm just gonna say right now, for me, I think I'm most likely just gonna sit and watch it directly on Disney Plus. Like, I'm at the point where in Quebec, our laws are very much strict when it comes to what can be open and what cannot. And I don't know if movie theaters are going to be open, considering that as I am recording this, they are still completely shut off. So I'm just going to say, for me, like, yeah, I definitely want to watch it, but I'm not going to be picky on where I'm going to see it specifically. And I'm going to guess I'll most likely just check it out on Disney Plus, where I'll just be at home. So that's just me, though. Anyways, I think I'm just going to read one more comment before we jump on to our next story. Let's see now. I really love this trailer. The story is promising, the animation is gorgeous, the action looks tense, and the Con Baby and Sisu were pretty funny. My only concern is how the little boy named Boone will turn out. My prediction is that he'll be one of those kids who only joined Raya's quest just because he has a crush on Raya and be annoying. I hope he brings more than trying to get his moves on her just to make the kids laugh. If not, he could be another bug cluck, but I'm still hyped. And I'm sorry, where did you get that? I don't know. Was there an actual like description of how he's going to be? Because if you're just making as you said, you're just making a prediction, and there is literally nothing that says that he is like that. So honestly, I'm just gonna keep an open mind. And the thing is, I highly doubt that. I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything, but that is a bit of a stretch where you're just making a prediction and you're really kind of dragging it on and like really mapping out your thoughts on how that's gonna be. But keep in mind, that's nothing more but a prediction, and we know nothing about that character. So let's just wait and see with how that goes. But with all that said, of course, right now, I will say, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see Raya and the Last Dragon. And if you guys are also hyped up as well, then mark your calendars for when the movie comes out on March 5th. Okay, so now let's jump onto our next story. And with the next story that I do have, holy crap, are people infuriated about this news. In fact, I would debatably say that this is possibly the most controversial animation news of the week. People are mad at this, like how hedge fund billionaires are upset over Redditors because of making the GameStop stocks go way up. You know, that kind of anger. So with that said, I might as well go straight into it. Let's go ahead and talk about the Thomas the Tank Engine controversy, specifically the leaked trailer of the 25th season of Thomas and Friends. And before I get things started, I just want to go and make a quick statement that when it comes to this trailer, I'm not actually going to go and show it in full. And the reason why I'm not going to do so is, as I just said, or I think I actually said that, but the thing is that this trailer right here is not officially released. This was actually a leak that someone on social media managed to find within the databases of Mattel and put it out on the internet, and thus the entire Thomas fan base just completely freaked out and already expressed their opinions. Now, I know that I'm going to be releasing this on YouTube, so I am a little bit hesitant to show this thing in full, even though that technically this is actually a very short clip. This is just like 45 seconds long. I'm not going to show it in its entirety. I'll show little clips here and there, but I'm not going to show everything at once, because right now Mattel is in a position where they're pretty much taking clips down one by one wherever they could find on YouTube. And some people may interpret that as like, oh, they're taking away our freedom of speech. They're trying to get rid of all the negative opinions. No, it's not like that. It's actually because this is not supposed to be shown to the public. This is only within the group of people within the business of Mattel. It was only meant for them only. In fact, even this trailer here, it actually does state, like, throughout everything, it actually says in the bottom, Mattel Confidential, do not distribute. Like, technically, the Thomas fans are doing something that they shouldn't by by pretty much distributing when it says right in front of their faces, do not distribute. So I'm not going to be showing this in full. But with that said and done, though, there is one thing that I would like to go and clarify before really putting my thoughts into this. And this is basically regarding Thomas and Friends and with the whole Thomas the Tank Engine franchise in general. Because I know that there are plenty of people out there, especially within my own fan base, that are major Thomas fans. But when it comes to me, however, I'm going to be very honest, I know absolutely nothing about Thomas. Maybe at the most, as a child, I probably have seen a few episodes of Thomas the Tank Engine. But other than that, though, I have no memory whatsoever about Thomas. I know nothing about it. I barely even know any of the characters. I have heard about Thomas the Tank Engine, and I have heard about the memes. But when it comes to Thomas, honestly, I have no memory of seeing any episodes. I haven't seen any episodes. My knowledge on Thomas the Tank Engine is practically minimal. In fact, the most that I have ever seen of Thomas the Tank Engine is probably the Kid Icarus episode where he reviewed the Japanese video game of Thomas the Tank Engine, which, by the way, I just find that one absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it, regardless if you are a Thomas fan or not, I highly recommend you do so because, oh my god, I mean, Kid Icarus is generally a great and hilarious YouTuber, but that episode in particular was just a lot of fun. Henry slept with my wife. But yeah, it's just definitely great. But yeah, this is all to say that, with what I'm about to talk about here, one thing to go and highly emphasize is that this is all going to be coming from the perspective of someone who is not a Thomas fan. This is like an outsider's perspective of the Thomas and Friends 25th season trailer. But if there is one thing that I do know about Thomas the Tank Engine, other than the fact that he's a train, is the fact that there are very few franchises out there in which their fan base are devoted to their property more so than Thomas the Tank Engine. Like, yeah, sure, the Thomas fan base is not as big as something like Star Wars, but the fans devote their lives to that franchise as much as Star Wars. When people love Thomas, they love Thomas. They, like, pretty much their lives are all about Thomas. Whatever they consume is mostly Thomas. Like, they devote a good chunk of their lives entirely on either watching Thomas, reading Thomas, buying Thomas merchandise, just all about Thomas. But with that said, though, what is it about this one in particular? Like, even though I'm someone who doesn't know anything about Thomas, why is it that I feel like I want to talk about this? Well, the thing is actually not regarding the trailer itself, but rather how everyone else feels about this Thomas in particular. That, holy crap, it has been years since we have seen the entire internet explode in anger, be completely enraged over a trailer, over just like not even a minute long of clips of an animated reboot for an animated series. Because one thing's for sure, holy crap, are people massively upset over this interpretation of Thomas and Friends. Like, people are mad. And I mean, like, explosively mad. And one thing that I will say, though, is that people are so upset that maybe they're not aware of this, but they're pretty much going through the exact same kind of reactions that we normally see from the internet regarding animated reboots. Like the kind of explosive and over-the-top angry reactions that we have seen on shows such as Teen Titans Go, and with Thundercats Roar, and with DreamWorks She-Ra, and many, many others. Those are the exact same ones that we are seeing regarding this Thomas in particular. And we have seen like all the comments that you could think of when people get angry over animated reboots. Oh, they have like the Thomas fan base has guaranteed to have said that this is the worst thing that they have ever seen in their lives. They want to die after watching this. Their childhood is ruined. Oh yeah, like you would be surprised at the amount of people who said unironically my childhood is ruined because of this. What else is there? What else? They would say things like, what I've just seen is cancer. The creator is rolling in his grave if they ever saw this. This is nothing like Thomas. This is the worst thing ever coming from Thomas. The people who worked on this should be ashamed of themselves. The Mattel is public enemy number one. We must stop them from making this show. They need to stop this. We need to make change.org petitions to say stop this show. Like, they went through every single comment in the book. Like, so much so that all we need is just for one person to say that the animation is bad because it's the CalArt style, and we pretty much got the complete set of butthurt fanboy reactions of an animated reboot trailer that they did not like. So basically right now, yeah, like, people are just massively upset about it, but it is kind of the same kind of reactions that we have seen before. It's pretty much the same kind of thing that, from an outsider's perspective, all they could say is just, here we go again. However, some might be wondering that if I am an outsider, if I'm someone who doesn't really know Thomas or doesn't have much of a connection to Thomas, what do I personally think about this trailer? What do I feel about seeing this? And I'm gonna be very honest with you guys, and I know that I'm gonna get so much hell for this. I'm gonna get so much hate, but I'm gonna be real. I kind of like this trailer, actually. I think this actually does look like a great show. And the reason why I say this is that, of course, like, I know nothing about Thomas, but looking at it on its own, this actually does have the potential to look like a cute series that kids would definitely get attached to. And not to mention that I feel like this is actually very well animated. Like, let's just watch a little bit of some of this animation right over here. Like, let's just quickly check this out.
Thomas and his friends are ready for a new generation of fans.
Woohoo!
Thomas is the hero of every episode.
Always trying to be the best little engine I can be.
Or, like, hold on a sec. There's also, like, yeah, like, maybe this part can actually help out. Like, it gives out a better example for the animation.
It's all engines go as Thomas and friends embark on their wildest, silliest, most musical series yet.
Full steam ahead! See you soon!
So, yeah. Oh my god, and I already see in the chat wall, like, some people are just, like, I already see a few people already commenting is like, please say psych, please say that you're joking, please say that this is a guilty pleasure. But no, I actually do unironically think that the animation does actually look pretty solid, especially for an animated series like this. Like the design, for example, like the design of the characters, I actually do find that they do look good. The animation style is bright and colorful. So at least they got the look of it, like just by the designs alone, like it's cute. It has, it has its own charm. It looks nice. And the animation, I would say it's actually very energetic. It's actually pretty smooth where, like, yeah, it does seem a little bit flash animation-y, but then again, it actually does, like, there are some moments where the movements can feel genuine. They feel lively. And on top of that, like, the movements, the poses, the expressions, they're comedic, like I said, they're comedic, they're full of life, they're a lot of fun. This actually does have a lot of potential to come out as a great series, and I can actually see some kids actually really enjoying this, that they could actually have a lot of fun. So, in my opinion, at least, I feel like with what they have shown as a series on its own, this actually does look like a very well animated show where, honestly, I feel like the animators actually did do a great job, where they actually did provide a great style for it, that they, you could actually feel like the animators wanted to actually create something fun, something enjoyable, something that the kids would actually like, where we would actually see this, this group of cartoon trains just having fun and be on their little adventures, where you can actually see that, like, right now, with the fact that Thomas is a lot more of a cartoon, that the animators are given a lot more of a creative liberty with this series. But with that said, though, again, keep in mind that this is all coming from an outsider's perspective of Thomas the Tank Engine, and as much as I do like this, like, even at that, even the things that I have said, those are also things that for Thomas fans, they absolutely despise, that this is just absolutely horrible, that this is a complete sin, and this thing must burn to the ground. But the question is, though, is just, why? Why is it that this seemingly innocent-looking animated kids show seem to be getting so much backlash from the fans? Why aren't the fans as involved? Like, why aren't the fans getting as involved in this? Why aren't they getting into this as much as someone like me, who knows nothing about Thomas and thinks that, oh, this looks cute, this looks fun, I could see kids having fun with this? Like, why are they liking this as much as I would? And that's honestly something that I looked into. I looked into all the different reactions of the Thomas fans. Like, I looked into reading the criticisms. I listened to what they have to say. I listened to all the explanations. And I think I managed to understand why. I think I know why is it that they hate this as much. Like they pretty much hate this as if this series stormed the Capitol or something like that. The thing is, when it comes to the Thomas fan base, there are very few franchises, or probably there are no franchises. I don't know why I couldn't speak. There are no franchises out there that could be more of a traditionalist than the Thomas fans. And what I mean by a traditionalist is that for Thomas fans, the original series that started it all with this, like, and I mean like the actual TV show, I don't mean like the original source material with the books, but with the TV show, for them, it is pretty much holy. That this is the standard of Thomas the Tank Engine that you should not go and mess up. In terms of the tone, in terms of the style, in terms of the look, everything should be like that. And you guys may, like, even if you're not necessarily familiar with Thomas, then you may probably know about the tone of Thomas the Tank Engine, or even the look and the style of Thomas, where it's not necessarily animation, but it is that play set style. That it's very much using toys in order to go and tell the story of Thomas the Tank Engine, and the most animation that you would have is just the characters. Every time we cut to them, we see them with a different pose or with a different facial expression. that's the big thing with Thomas. And yeah, from time to time we do see by time they would go and gradually evolve this, and there would be some altercations from time to time within the Thomas franchise. Rather it be changing narrators, where they would have several of them, like at one point they would have George Carlin, or at another point they would have Ringo Starr, or in recent years they would actually depict Thomas the Tank Engine as computer animated, so that they could stay within the tone and the style of the original. But this is all to say that for Thomas fans, the original is pretty much holy. It is pretty much sacred, that if you are going to make a Thomas adaptation, it must exactly be in that style. Anything that is outside of that would be sacrilegious. And when it comes to this series in particular, with season 25 of Thomas and Friends, this pretty much decided to take the tone, the style, the look, and everything that people know about Thomas and just go 180 on it. Like, this is all 2D. This is all hyper cartoony. This is a lot more, like, this really does emphasize more the cartoon. This one really is a lot more high energy. This pretty much is the opposite of how the show is compared to how it was back in the 1980s and stuff like that. And for the fans of the original series, and for Thomas fans, that is a massive no-no. That, for them, is the worst thing that you could ever do. And this is why nowadays we are seeing so much backlash over this series in particular, because this is nothing like the Thomas that the fans grew up and love. This is why there is so much hate, there is so much backlash. This is why we are seeing like this kind of like stereotypically angry, butthurt fanboy style reactions towards this series in particular, because this is nothing like the Thomas that they grew up and love. And because they are so personally attached to that series in particular, the fact that the only thing that resembles Thomas here is just the fact that it literally stars Thomas and Friends, and that's it. It's just the use of the characters and nothing more. For them, that's why they're so enraged. That's why they're so upset for this trailer in particular. It's because it really is nothing like Thomas. Now, then again, in my personal opinion, yes, I definitely do feel like a lot of the reactions are pretty much exaggerated, mainly because of the fact that at the end of the day, its biggest crime is just being a series. For the most part, like if you look outside of the Thomas elements, this very much is harmless. I mean, it's not like it's doing anything controversial or it's saying anything bad to the kids. It's not like suddenly you see Thomas just like rolling in front of the screen and is just telling the kids, "Hey everybody, just a quick reminder, Joe Biden cheated on the 2020 elections, all because of voter fraud. Trump should have had a second term." You know, he's not saying anything like that, or he's not rolling up to the audience and saying, "I have serious doubts about the effectiveness of wearing masks." No, nothing like that. He's not saying anything that is hurtful or harmful. The biggest crime that this show is committing is just being its own thing. And that's really the big thing. Like, if it were, like, I could say this right now. If it were its own series, if it were called like Choo Choo and Pals, and it has nothing to do with Thomas the Tank Engine, then this would have gotten a lot more praise. A lot more people would actually be cool with this. Because for what it has presented, it's actually a lot of fun. It actually does present a lot of potential, and I could definitely see how kids could actually enjoy it, because technically its biggest its biggest target audience is going to be for kids. It's going to be with that they are going to use in order to go and introduce new audiences for Thomas. Yes, debatably, like I could definitely agree that it does seem like something that is targeted for kids more so than it is to go and target towards adults or towards already the major fans of Thomas and Friends. But then again, that is how the market is nowadays. I mean, why else do you think Teen Titans Go is still going on to this day and is still considered massively popular both on Cartoon Network and even on Netflix, where from time to time I actually do see it on the top 10 often. And that's the thing with Thomas, is that technically, if it wants to survive, if it wants to continue, then it has to adapt. And if it has to update in order to become 2D, in order to become a little more cartoony, in order to be more high energy and comedic, then so be it. I mean, yeah, I'm not this is not to go and antagonize the Thomas fans, because, that's their thing. And I mean, I'm not, this is not to go and antagonize the Thomas fans or anything like that. And I mean, as long as you're not hurting anybody with the, as long as you're not hurting anyone with your love for Thomas, then honestly, that's perfectly okay. But but for me personally, I do find that the reactions are a bit exaggerated when it comes to how people feel towards Thomas the Tank Engine, because yeah, a lot of it is really not that different from what we have seen towards the reactions of other animated reboots such as Teen Titans Go and Thundercats Roar, because really, at the end of the day, the biggest crime that Thomas is committing is just adapting to the modern times and try to be appealing to kids and to new audiences. So at least that's my thoughts on it. Again, this is all coming from an outsider's perspective on this Thomas series. But yeah, honestly, for me, I find it to be harmless. I find that it actually does really look good. I'll give credit to the animators at Nelvana that they did a pretty good job with what they have done with this, and yeah. I just figured I wanted to talk about this because the reactions of it has been so crazy. They have been pretty much insane in terms of, how people feel about this new Thomas, and that people are just, bursting in anger how they feel with this. So, just thought I would go and quickly comment on that. Alright, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask, what do you all think about this new Thomas series, about the 25th season of Thomas and Friends? Do you guys find this to actually be good? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? And if you are a Thomas fan, tell me your opinions about this trailer, and why do you feel that way? Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see what we got here. Hold on, let me start with something interesting. Okay. I understand that you are an outsider, and I still love your work, and nothing negative about you, but since I am a Thomas fan, I am so upset at Mattel over this reboot, and I am autistic. I love the original 7 seasons of the show, as well as the CG burner era, due to the realism which held Thomas for years, but the new series, CG Miller era, and BWBA are pretty bad, and this reboot is abysmal in my opinion. People say Disney is evil, but Mattel is totally evil, and I'm sorry for Wilbert Audrey and Britt Alcroft. Okay, so at least we got a fan's perspective of this. Let's see now. As a casual fan, I do not like this. I was chill with the modern era, and even with the CGI era, but I can't with this. Mattel is... Whoops, excuse me. Mattel is... where was... sorry. I kind of lost my track there. No pun intended, by the way. Anyways, Mattel is making this show more dumbed down like the Land Before Time sequel, so I will just calmly stay away from this and stick with the classic series, and only the classic series of the show. Alright, let's see what else we got. I might not be that big of a fan of Thomas, but even I don't like this. Thomas was already made for kids, but while this is bouncy and cartoony, the original Thomas is very laid back, wholesome, and grounded, which made it stand out when compared to other children's programs, and as you said, the fandom is very traditionalist. You know when things are going bad when even Britt Alcroft, one of the creators of the original 1980s Thomas series, publicly denounced the reboot on Facebook. Even the creators are going after this. All right. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Anyways, what else we got? As a Thomas fan, I will say that although I'm not a fan of this trailer, a 2D Thomas show could work. Hell, why not go balls out and have Thomas become human, and he needs to become a train again with the help of Will Smith. Oh my god. Just imagine. Oh my god, with that idea, I don't know how the Thomas fans would react. I think the mob would just go against you, dude. Anyways, but regardless, I will have to watch these episodes since I have to review them for a blog. Don't judge. I need to pay my bills. I know how you feel, dude. That's what I gotta do sometimes with my job. And with that, good night, and always remember, James murdered my dog. I see another Caddy fan there. Good on you, mate. Kill. Anyways, what else we got here? This is why I don't get into fandoms. I never watched the show, and quite frankly, the original freaked me out as a child. It looks cute design-wise to me. All these grown adults freaking out over a cartoon for kids 7 and under. Lord almighty, this show isn't for you. Same for Thundercats Roar and Teen Titans Go. This isn't for you, edgelords. Yeah, oh my god, oh, that would be another interesting route for Thomas the Tank Engine. Imagine an edgy Thomas. Like, give it a bit of that Zack Snyder touch, and we'll just leave Thomas from there. Oh my god, imagine an edgelord Thomas the Tank Engine. Wouldn't that be something? Let's see, what else do we have? There we go. Great, another show that people are overreacting because it's a reboot. Why am I not surprised? Personally, I think the trailer looks cute, the animation looks charming, and I'm okay with them making the switch to 2D animation, and I'm sure the stop motion from the original series wasn't exactly cheap to produce, so even though I'm not a Thomas fan myself, I'm okay with them changing this up a bit. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. What else do we got here? I might as well just read one more comment. I've seen the leaked trailer. I've been watching this series ever since I was little on a UK VHS. Well, only the seasons with practical models. I stopped watching it as I got older, but I do revisit them just for nostalgia, and only dipping into the CGI era sometimes. However, watching this trailer was alright, it's harmless, and the designs are okay for young kids. Plus, the animation is by Nelvana, who is known for Rock and Rule, and Babar, King of the Elephant series, so I think it's alright. So yeah, like, honestly, I'm just gonna say right now, I would not be surprised if people get pissed off at me for the things that I've said here with this particular story. I know there are a lot of people who are seriously upset with this, but for me, keep in mind, this is all from an outsider's perspective. This is all coming from someone who doesn't really know about Thomas the Tank Engine. So, honestly, for me, I find it's harmless. I find this well animated, so yeah, that's how it is for me. I guess that's the most that I could really say about season 25 of Thomas. And by the way, I did forget to mention that technically there is going to be a release date. They did state at the end that it is going to be coming on October 2021, so if you guys are ready for another wave of angry Thomas fanboys really going at it over this series, then yeah, be prepared for this Halloween when maybe monsters and vampires and all that kind of stuff aren't going to be the scariest things that will be coming out in October. Okay, so for our next story that we got over here, what we have is actually going to be regarding an update regarding a TV series that we haven't heard from in a long time. In fact, this was supposed to be a show that a lot of people were expecting to come soon. In fact, this was probably one of the first series that Disney has announced with Disney Plus. Like, back when they first announced Disney Plus, this was like one of the first things that they have revealed that they were going to make and that they would put out on Disney Plus. And yet, it's already been more than a year since Disney Plus has been released, and we haven't gotten the show yet. So the question is, what the fridge actually happened with that? Well, believe it or not, we actually do have an update, and thankfully, it is still going. And what I'm going to be talking about is actually regarding Monsters at Work. Yes, Collider decided to go and have a little bit of a chat with Billy Crystal. Now, the main purpose of the chat was to go and just talk a bit about his legacy with all the different movies that he has done, all the different works, some of his involvements, like being a well-known host at the Oscars and stuff like that. Like, pretty much having a talk about the life of Billy Crystal. But then they would go and discuss about the future of his career. What is he going to do next? And they mentioned about Monsters at Work and if anything is going to happen with that. And thankfully, Billy Crystal did confirm that Monsters at Work is actually still gonna be happening. That the people at Pixar and at Disney, they are still at work in order to make Monsters at Work. And that, of course, as it was previously revealed, he is still gonna be involved as Mike Wazowski. So reading from my source here on Collider to read you a quote from Billy Crystal himself. Oh, fudge nabbit, did I, I forgot to go and, put my big screen down. Okay. At least you guys can finally see what I'm talking about. But, it says here now, oh wow, even the chat wall is like, zoom out! Okay, don't worry, I did it. Anyways, as I was saying, it says here, it's a series. John Goodman and I are Sully and Mike. The show, time-wise, starts 6 months after Monsters, Inc. ended. So now we're on the laugh floor. We've created all of the new young great characters with some great voice actors, and John and I are reprising our parts. I tell ya, it's been 20 years since the release of Monsters, Inc., and that movie looked amazing 20 years ago. It's coming up to the 20th anniversary, I believe in September, which is actually in November. It's fantastic looking, it's hilarious, and we've been having a lot of fun doing it. And he also mentioned that even though the pandemic did delay the production a little bit, they did still do a little bit of work, including Billy Crystal himself doing some of the voices during that time, where he even stated that, yeah, we've done a bunch of episodes, we've been on a break because of the pandemic, but some I was able to do at home, and some I was able to do in a very deserted studio out in Burbank. To be the only one in the lot was a little weird, but yeah, we're progressing. I don't know when they're gonna start being released, but I promise you, they're really good. So that's pretty much the big thing about Monsters at Work, is that Billy Crystal just wants to go and give out a major update about what is happening. And on top of this one, we also have heard of other recent news as well related to Monsters at Work, and some updates on what's happening, and like more proof that it is still gonna be in the works and that it will be released on Disney+. Of course, you probably have heard that there is a major cast list over here that we do know about the people who are going to be involved with the show. Some of the original cast is going to be coming back, including, of course, Billy Crystal, John Goodman, Jennifer Tilly, John Ratzenberger, and Bob Peterson. But we also got some new characters that will be voiced by Ben Feldman, Kelly Marie Tran, and Alana Ubach. But what is also very interesting to note, I believe John Ratzenberger also made the announcement either this week or last week that when it comes to his involvement with the series, I'm not 100% sure if the Abominable Snowman is going to be making a comeback, but he did reveal that his contribution is actually going to be playing a new character. Like, if the Abominable Snowman will be returning, then he won't be having a major role than the new character that John Ratzenberger is actually going to be involved. And honestly, with this news right over here, I actually do find this kind of interesting, mainly because of what I've said before, that it's been a while since we have technically heard about Monsters at Work, yet nothing really came out of it. In fact, this was supposed to be one of the major selling points of Disney Plus right at the beginning, that one of their first big things that they have revealed is that they are going to do a Monsters, Inc. series that will feature the original characters, and they will be having their original actors reprising their roles. Like, that was a major selling point for Disney Plus. And yet, over the years, like, even though we have heard all about the hype of Disney Plus and stuff like that, nothing really came out of it. We haven't heard anything related to Monsters at Work. In fact, not long ago, when Disney made that big major announcement, like that big Disney Investors Day, where they revealed so much of the new upcoming content that would be coming to Disney Plus, never once did they legitimately mention about Monsters at Work or anything like that. Like, there were rumors and speculations that some people think that maybe the show was canceled, or maybe they scrapped the whole idea or something like that. But no, it just turns out that, of course, we live in a completely strange and a completely different time. That we are in a pandemic, and that would go and slow things down. Of course, we know about the different stories about how animation is surviving the pandemic more so than live action productions, where they can't even work on set in order to make their movies. And even if they would try, a lot of them would go and end up having cases of COVID, which is what happened with Jurassic World and also with the Batman. But that still doesn't necessarily mean that things would slow down in terms of the production, that they would still have a bit of a hard time to have people get together and have things get going in order to actually do some proper work. It's not just related to the animation process alone, but there's also the aspect of writing, the voice acting, the post-production with the musical, with the music, with the sound effects, and all that kind of stuff. There's still so many elements that the pandemic did actually hinder, which is also why we have seen nowadays a whole bunch of animated content that did end up getting delayed. Like we just talked about Raya and the Last Dragon. That was supposed to be out in November, but then just got a release for March. Or the Minions movie, Minions Rise of Gru, that was supposed to be in the summer of last year. Now we're getting it this July. So that's one important thing to keep in mind, is that yes, animation can still survive during the pandemic, but that doesn't mean that things are still, like, no problem back to normal, you know? They still have to go and face some issues, they still have to face some difficulties, and the process can still be kind of slow during the pandemic, when most people would still have to work at home, especially when they have to get all their equipment, especially when they have to still deal with their lives and stuff like that within the house. You know, it's still a massive, complicated process. And I guess with Monsters at Home, like, maybe like, the pandemic, of course, did play a very significant role, but then again, there could also be factors about the creative process as well, because you got to keep in mind that when it comes to Monsters at Work, this is a highly anticipated series. We all know very well that there is a prominent fan base for Monsters, Inc., and there is a lot of people who are very much excited for this series. In fact, for many Monsters, Inc. fans, this is probably their most anticipated series that they are waiting for Disney Plus, kind of like in the same veins of how Star Wars fans had been anticipating for The Mandalorian for so long. So when it comes to Monsters at Work, they know that they really want to make sure that they could get everything right, that they want to make sure that with this series in particular, that they want to know that everything can work out fine, that the whole tone of it all can still stay true with the original series, and that everything can still look good, especially if they want to try to make it top quality, like still be top of the line, like still state of the art, like how Monsters Inc. was back then yeah, they're still gonna need like a lot of time, especially with something like Monsters Inc., where it would probably need more time to go and render and to go and make the animation, especially like when you got all these different creative creatures that have their own different way of moving and have like so many different furs, so many different properties that like would reflect differently on the light and all that kind of stuff. And not to mention about rebuilding Monstropolis, where they have to redo Monsters Inc. or Harryhausen's, or even like the whole neighborhood, really expand the town of Monstropolis. If they're gonna go and do that, then yeah, it would require a whole lot of extra work, and that's probably why this has been going on for a while during production. So, like, maybe this is all speculation, but from my guess, I actually do feel like when it does come to Monsters at Work, they would go and try to make sure that everything works out fine. That their biggest goal is to try to get things right. I mean, why else would they go and heavily delay this? Excuse me. Now, of course, there could probably be plenty of other explanations as well. Like, some people could say that maybe it's because of budgetary issues. Maybe it's just because they quickly ran out of money and, like, the pandemic really hit hard in terms of the budget and what they're able to afford to do. That's also a very perfectly that could be a perfectly explainable reason right there. There are plenty of other reasons, but I think the positive thing to take away from this is that no, Monsters at Work is not canceled. It's still happening. Even during the pandemic, people like Billy Crystal and John Goodman are still at work on this. And who knows, maybe we could actually see this show pretty soon. And Billy Crystal does actually bring up a very good point, and that it actually is true that when it comes to Monsters, Inc., this year is actually going to be the 20th anniversary of the movie. So, if anything, like, I could probably imagine that maybe there is also a chance that Disney is saving up in order to have the show be released for the end of 2020. I mean, wouldn't that actually be perfect? Wouldn't that actually make sense? Like, in order to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Monsters, Inc., they would actually go and release it at the same time as the 20th anniversary to go and release Monsters at Work, they would release it during the 20th anniversary of Monsters, Inc. They would probably go and do that. So honestly, maybe Disney might have some plans. I mean, we will have to wait and see. Like, maybe it will be much later. Maybe, like, this will not be for 2022 or 2023 or something like that. But still, I know that this is something that a lot of people are very much looking forward to. And honestly, it will be interesting to see this show come out eventually. So, yeah, I know a lot of people are excited, and who knows when it's coming out. But one thing's for sure, we know that it's still happening. Okay, so with that said, I'd like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about Monsters at Work still being in production and maybe having a release date either at the end of this year or in 2022 and something like that? Are you someone who is excited for Monsters at Work? Do you still have any questions regarding Monsters at Work? Let me know what you think. Okay. Let's see what we got here now. Hold on. Oh boy, you people have been talking a lot while I was talking. All right, let's see. I never knew about this news, but hey, I'm up for it. My favorite part of the movie is the Yeti saying, "Welcome to the Himalayas!" Snowcone? and I bet they might add him to the series as well. Though I hope that they will get more information about this show instead of just putting it on hold. And I am pretty excited to see Mike and Sully make a comeback in the series, but my question is, will John Goodman and Billy Crystal reprise their roles for their characters? Because they might not due to their age. No offense, but dude, have you been listening? Because the whole point of this is to pretty much say that yes, Monsters at Work is still going on, and and keep in mind, we actually got this information from Billy Crystal himself, and he does legitimately say that yes, Billy Crystal will be voicing Mike Wazowski, and John Goodman will be voicing Sully. That is one thing to confirm right there. So don't you worry. Yes, the original voice actors are coming back for Monsters, Inc. No, you're not going to get some weird Kingdom Hearts 3 thing where you only got pretenders trying to be Mike and Sully. We're like, no, I'm Mike Wazowski. You won't be getting any of that. All right, so let's see what we got here. As someone who has Disney Plus, I'm pretty excited to see this show. I really enjoyed the first film and thought the prequel wasn't that bad. The one thing I'm hoping this show would do is to show and explore more of the world of Monstropolis than the first film presented. but showed very little of it. Also, you're probably not going to talk about this in the podcast, but did you hear the recent news about Roger Craig Smith stepping down as Sonic the Hedgehog? Yes, I have definitely heard about the news. I don't think he stepped down, but I think he just revealed he's just no longer voicing Sonic the Hedgehog. Which, I mean, like, yeah, I know a lot of people have fond memories with the Roger Craig Smith version of Sonic, but I definitely do wish him the best of luck. He definitely was a great Sonic and a talented Sonic, delivering some great roles and definitely some memorable moments, whether it be like in the Wreck-It Ralph movies and also some great times in the Sonic Boom series. But I do wish the next person who will play Sonic the best of luck. So yeah, honestly, I didn't include it here mainly because, well, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. Anyways, what else do we got here? It's nice to see that this is still at work. I really enjoy both Monsters, Inc. movies, and it will be nice to see Mike and Sully again. Maybe they can even do an episode or two of which based on the canceled Monsters, Inc. sequel, where Mike and Sully travel to the human world to meet Boo. You know what? I should watch the original movie again. Oh yeah, like I think like when Disney will make an announcement of when this is officially going to be coming out, or maybe like just in time for like the 20th anniversary. I'm sure there's going to be like a massive boom of people rewatching Monsters Inc. on Disney Plus. That will be a guarantee. Let's see now. As a guy who is a humongous fan of the Monsters Inc. series, including the original and prequel, I am hyped to see Monsters at work. I do wonder if they will still be referencing Boo in the show, since this takes place months after Monsters Inc., maybe even doing a bit of a nod of the Scrap sequel where Boo moved out of her house. Also, this may be jokingly nitpicky, but they should have made Monsters at Work or even Disney Plus for December 3rd, 2019, as a bit of a nod to the sock from George. Such a missed opportunity. Again, a nitpick. Yeah, exactly. That's just a nitpick. And I think honestly, yeah, like it would be cute to release the show with like to tie in with the meme. I think it would be more it would make more sense and it would be more formal to have it be released like sometime like the 20th anniversary of the show. Let's see, what else do we have here? I'll go with you actually. I'm very excited and very happy this show is still happening. I thought Disney might cancel it since they didn't mention it in the Walt Disney Investors Day back in December, and they already canceled the Lizzie McGuire reboot. Anyways, I can't wait for the show since Monsters, Inc. is one of my favorite Pixar movies along with the Toy Story movies and Finding Nemo. Alright, so at least we got some hype there. I think, honestly, I'm going to read one more comment before we jump into the next story. It's nice to see that this is still at work. I really enjoy both the Monsters, Inc. movies, and it will be nice to see Mike and Sully again. Maybe they can even do an episode or two, which is based on the... Oh, did I read this one? Or you... Yeah, no, I read you. Fudge nabbit. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Here, I'll read you. I did not read you yet. I am very excited for this. As someone who really enjoys Monsters, Inc., this really has a lot of potential to expand the world of Monsters, Inc. I am also very happy to see the original actors are coming back, so overall, I'm pretty excited to see the series. But in the meantime, I will continue watching WandaVision on Disney Plus, which is amazing so far. Yeah, I have definitely heard a lot of great things about WandaVision, so at least there is still some good content on Disney Plus. Okay, now, moving on to our next story that I have here. This will be a little bit of a bonus miscellaneous. And as I said before, this is a little bit more of a Disney-centric episode, and what I'm going to highlight here is going to be related to the Disney theme parks. And this week, holy crap, there's been a lot of moments worth talking about when it comes to the Disney parks, especially on social media, where there are plenty of things where people has just been freaking out about. Like, of course, you probably have heard about the incident where Eric Idle accidentally mistook Figment from Journey into Imagination as the dragon that he voiced as part of the two-headed dragon in Quest for Camelot, and you got the Disney community just like full-on making fun of him, which I definitely do feel sorry for Eric Idle. And I mean, let's all be honest, I think we would all wish to be like Eric Idle, and we would all want to forget about the bad version of Journey into Imagination. And then there is also another story which did happen recently, where in the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros at Epcot, the part where you would see the animatronics of Jose, Pachito, and Donald, they're pretty much all replaced with cardboard cutouts. I kid you not. Like, since the animatronics still need a bit of work, their solution is to just go back. Well, not go back, but to just flat out replace them with just like these cardboard cutouts that you can imagine the gag that like they're standing there lively and then suddenly like just like lie down flat. Yes, that is not a joke, people. You can actually go and look it up. It's sad, but it's also hilarious that Disney would go into the freaking Disney would go into the Six Flags route with that. But I'm not going to be talking about those. What I will be discussing about instead is actually possibly the biggest Disney park news of the week, or the biggest Disney park news in a while, because this is actually going to be a very significant upgrade to a beloved classic attraction. And what I'm going to be talking about is the Jungle Cruise. Yes, Disney has officially announced that for Disneyland and Walt Disney World, the beloved classic and iconic attraction, the Jungle Cruise, is actually going to be getting a significant upgrade where they will be adding a new plot line to the attraction. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that they are completely changing everything about the Jungle Cruise. They're just going to go and try to add a little bit more, along with updating a lot of the scenes in order to reflect on modern times. In fact, Disney actually did release a whole bunch of new concept art of some of the new changes that they will do. Like one example, if you can actually see here, is the iconic rhino pole scene. You might remember in the Jungle Cruise where you got a bunch of explorers who ran up a pole or who ran up a tree because they want to run away from a rhino, and they're pretty much stuck up there where this angry rhino is waiting to try to go and catch them. Well, that has been updated in order for the explorers to have like this wide range of diversity to reflect upon different cultures, where you actually got women explorers as much as you do men explorers, but you got old explorers, young explorers, explorers from different regions. Also, like, they decided to go and give them a bit of character, where all these explorers are there for like different reasons, where you got an artist, you got a bird watcher, you got like you got all these different types of people. Like, it's pretty much adding a storyline and also giving these people some characters, where you actually do have new characters. And holy crap, Disney actually creating new original characters in their theme parks. That is something I thought would be legendary. I thought that would be mythological. I thought that was unheard of. I mean, seriously, when was the last time that Disney ever created an original character for their theme parks that's in the American attractions? I know, like, technically there is there's like the international ones, like in Tokyo or in Hong Kong or in Shanghai or whatever, but really think about it. When was the last time they ever did so in the American attractions? Honestly, like, for me, I just feel like maybe the last time was like, what, back in 2006, when they included the Yeti for Expedition Everest and the Black Widow Bride from the Haunted Mansion, or when they had to update that character. I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, anyways, going back to this, however, we also got another update. Another new addition that they're going to do is this wrecked ship over here, which is completely conquered by chimpanzees. Where right now the chimpanzees decided to go and troll the people by just flat out imitating the people that were wrecked in the ship. Where, like, you got this monkey catching butterflies, this monkey right here just like full on paint, you know, messing with the paint. Then you got this one, and then you also got the monkey trying to be a skipper. So of course, like you'll have that moment as well. Now, with that said, though, if you want to know a little bit more about what the update is trying to do, I think Kevin Lively actually said it best, who is a Disney Imagineer, and he actually used to work as a skipper for the Jungle Cruise ride, where he actually stated, reading from my source here at the Disney Parks blog, it states, as part of this story update, we'll get to follow a skipper and his passengers as their journey goes awry. That's right, for the first time ever, the skipper role will not only be that of a live experience and witty guide, but also represented by a show figure within the attraction itself. In fact, the expedition will be up a tree literally after their sunken boat splits apart and the chimps board the wreckage, with monkey business ensuing. But that's not even half of the whole story. Fans of the Jungle Cruise attraction may recall some of the boats that used to make their way around the river but haven't been seen for a while, specifically the Mekong Maiden and the Quango Kate. Ever wonder what happened to them? Well, you might go ape when you find out. Ultimately, the jungle gets the last laugh. And as part of that story, like you even see in this wreckage here, like with this with this wrecked boat where the chimpanzees were just taking over, technically that's the Quango Kate. So something happened to the Quango Kate where it got completely wrecked, and now it just belongs to the chimpanzees, where now they're just taking over, and it's like, yep, this is my boat now, we're just doing it. Hey, look at me, I'm a person! Oh my god, you could tell, like, how much you want to bet that this is what animals do on a regular basis. They just imitate humans and just go herp. Anyways, though, that is not going to necessarily be the only updates that they are going to do, however, because I got another website here from The Laughing Place in which they actually go down note by note on some of the significant changes that will be happening to the Jungle Cruise and when it's actually going to happen. And a lot of them are actually very interesting to point out. So it does mention here, reading from my source on The Laughing Place, it actually states, let's see, the Jungle Cruise attraction at Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom will soon be updated with a new storyline, among other adjustments, of course. With these changes, we'll retain the humor and fun of the current experience. Disney says that they will also reflect and value the diversity of the world around us. Imagineer Chris Beatty added that this is not a re-envisioning of the entire attraction, it's the Jungle Cruise you all know and love, with the skipper still leading the way. With the update will come a new story, as guests aboard the journey will follow what happened to another skipper with his passengers when their adventure went awry. It also teases that guests will discover what became of the Mekong Maiden and the Quango Kate boats. So, basically, some of the stuff that we have already talked about when I was back in the Disney Parks blog. But there's also another massive thing that also does describe a little bit about these people who are up a pole and trying to dodge the rhino, where it actually says, think of the famous rhino pole scene, where the team of explorers who have somehow camped that night and then be run up the pole by the rhino and a group of other animals. According to Imagineer Chris Beatty, that is where the new storyline will kick off. Did you ever wonder who those explorers were or where they came from? As part of the enhanced storyline, each of them will have their own story and cultural heritage. There's a birdwatcher, an entomologist, a wildlife painter, and a photographer, and each one will have a different reason of being on the expedition. And of course, they did one of the things you're never supposed to do, which is leave the boat. They each have great personalities, and I think our guests will connect with these characters in new ways. So we're not really reinventioning that scene, we're just adding a narrative, a storyline to bring things to life and connect that moment with other happenings along the river. They would also go and add as well some interesting things regarding when this is going to be happening, where it actually states, it is unclear when the current Jungle Cruise attraction at Walt Disney World Resort will close for these updates, or if the Disneyland version will reopen them in place. Both resorts are slated to receive the same story treatment and changes. They also mentioned that, however, in an interview with D23, Disney Imagineer Creative Portfolio Executive Chris Beatty said, "We haven't announced a date yet. We're working hard to make sure we can get everything in this year." So we don't know when, but it's going to be sometime in 2021. However, there is one very interesting note to go and add into this. There is something really interesting that could possibly completely change your perspective on these updates in particular. You might be thinking what you are thinking about the big elephant in the room, no pun intended, I'm not being a skipper here, but it actually says, although Walt Disney Studios is set to release the film Jungle Cruise later this year, the attraction update is apparently not tied to the movie. So yes, even though there is going to be the movie that's coming out this year in the summer, no, this update will not feature anything from the movie. So there's not going to be any moment where you'll end up encountering Dwayne Johnson or Emily Blunt or whatever elements that they want to include from the movie or whatever. This is just purely going to be the Jungle Cruise attraction and nothing more. And I think that's the first thing that I want to go and comment on this. And honestly, I just feel massively surprised that Disney would do that. Because in recent years, especially during the Bob Iger era, they really have become lenient on trying to really capitalize in the movies. Like, really take away, like, really ignore any form of originality to go and include in the parks and really just focus on, like, trying to find ways to plug in whatever feature films they could put into the ride. Like, for example, at Epcot, for example, the way that they completely replaced Maelstrom with Frozen Ever After, or with the France Pavilion, where they want to include a new ride, but it's going to be a Ratatouille ride, or even the one place that used to be not Horizons, but the Universe of Energy starring Ellen DeGeneres and Bill Nye. That's going to be completely taken out and replaced by Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they used to be so property heavy, so it's honestly quite a surprise that now that they do have a movie based on that classic attraction, that they're not going to do anything to tie in that movie with the ride. That they're just going to keep the ride as the ride and the movie as the movie, and that's it. Like, this is pretty much unlike what they previously have done with Pirates of the... Like, this is pretty much the opposite of what they have done with Pirates of the Caribbean, where after the major success of the first movie, then they just throw in all the references they want of Jack Sparrow, where now, like, the grand majority of the time, like, they would just non-stop reference, like, Jack Sparrow, Jack Sparrow, Jack Sparrow, Jack Sparrow. But then again, it could be a possibility that maybe Disney has heard the criticisms against that kind of move, and now when it comes to their classic attractions, they want to keep it as their classic attractions. Because it is true that technically when you do think about, like, the controversial change of the auction scene in Pirates, for example, they just left the auction scene as the auction scene, and that's it. They did a lot of significant changes in order to reflect on modern times, sure, but never once do they ever make a reference about Jack Sparrow or make a reference to the movies or add in any of the random characters there. It's not like you'll randomly see Will Turner or Barbossa or any of Jack Sparrow's crew in there. It's just the auction scene as the auction scene, and that's it. It's still its own original thing. And it's the same thing with the Jungle Cruise. They're not adding Dwayne Johnson. They're not adding Emily Blunt. They're just leaving the Jungle Cruise be the Jungle Cruise, and that's it. To be its own entity and to have the movie be its own entity. And that is one massively surprising move that Disney has done with this, and I definitely do applaud them. But with that said, also, I will say that when it comes to this update, again, kind of like with the Raya and the Last Dragon trailer coming out, I was kind of surprised that Disney would do this move. I was kind of surprised that they would come out with this kind of announcement, that they would do this major change to the Jungle Cruise, that they are going to make some massively significant updates in order to a little bit modernize the Jungle Cruise in order to reflect on modern times and, to give it a bit of a polish, to give it a bit of, like, not just a cultural update, but also a bit of a technological update, because technically we are talking about the Jungle Cruise, and yeah, like, in terms of the technological side, that is definitely something that would desire an update. That is definitely true right there. But with that said, honestly, I will say, like, I did find it a little bit odd at first, but then I see, like, some of the changes that they do want to do, like with the rhino pole scene, for example. I'm gonna be honest, like, I actually did do a bit of a comparison to the original rhino scene, to the original rhino pole scene, and honestly, what they're doing here, it's really not that different from the original. So really, I actually do believe what Disney is saying, that they're not really changing anything, they're not taking away anything, they're just adding on to what we already know. This is pretty much the exact same thing. Now they're just adding in a story. Now they're giving personalities to these characters that are climbing up a pole in which the rhino is just angry at them for. So, like, they really are including a lot of this. But at the same time, this is actually something that a lot of people are actually noting about. It's that if there is one thing that the Jungle Cruise ride is actually taking out, it's actually regarding the natives. And if you've been on the Jungle Cruise, you probably know very well about what I'm talking about. Because there have been times in the Jungle Cruise attraction that you do see some savage natives, that they're doing their tribal chants, that they're, they're doing their ritual dances, and they're ready to go after people. And honestly, when it comes to that is actually something that, yeah, I think we can all agree that they might as well go and take out, because we are in the age where it's not cool seeing natives going unga bunga with face paint on their faces, and and portrayed as like savages and cannibals and stuff like that. That was something that needed to go a long time ago. In fact, it was kind of surprising that among the changes that Disney has done, it's only now that they decided to go and take away that thing, which honestly, I feel like, yeah, I think I'm perfectly fine with it. I think getting rid of the cannibal thing, getting rid of all the savage thing, like, yeah, we're gonna sacrifice the I Love Disco reference, but still, though, I think it's probably for the best. And I don't think that many people are gonna be that upset, and the only people that I really can think of that would be upset about this, other than the major, like psychotic Disney purists to the point where, like, they want to keep everything as is, like it's 1955. Like, other than those people are probably the crazy anti-SJWs. I mean, like, if they would complain about stuff like the changes that they have done in the Pirates of the Caribbean auction scene, or the changes with Splash Mountain changing the theme from Song of the South to Princess and the Frog, then yeah, you could probably expect those idiots are going to be complaining about this, and they'll make their usual rant about SJW and forced diversity, do that kind of bullcrap, because that's what they usually do. So yeah, maybe they're going to complain about it, but when it comes to the mentally functioning people, I think it's understandable, and it's pretty much cool that they would take away at least those things. So honestly, overall, when it comes to the update of the Jungle Cruise, it's something I feel like the more I think about it, the more I'm actually on board with this, because it will actually give so much more to the Jungle Cruise. It will give more of a story to it. It will give new materials for the skippers to play around with. It will give some new surprises. So for me, honestly, I'm actually pretty cool with this. I think this is actually a great idea, and I feel like this is not all this is just a step in the right direction for the Jungle Cruise, in order to still keep it fresh, in order to still stay true to the original spirit of the attraction. I think honestly, like, this is a well-deserved update, and a well-earned update as well. Like, this is something that they need to do, especially with the fact that they are going to be updating this and not include anything for the movie. I think that is a massive bonus. And yeah, some people could argue that maybe technically in the near future, if the Jungle Cruise movie is a massive hit, then maybe they will go and include some movie references here and there. But then again, the fact that Disney is dedicated to make such a major update to the Jungle Cruise, and already that we are at the point that technically Disney doesn't really have that much money to begin with in order to really do whatever they want with the Disney park, since they have already lost billions, no joke, in that market right there. I think Disney is just going to keep it as this updated Jungle Cruise for a good while. So overall, yeah, I am definitely on board with this new update with the Jungle Cruise. Again, no pun intended. So with that said, now, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about this update of the Jungle Cruise? Are you a fan of the Jungle Cruise? Do you like the attraction? Do you hate it? How do you feel with these changes? Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see now. What do we got here? I'm probably the one dude that hasn't rode the Jungle Cruise, but these changes do sound pretty fun. I'm aware that they're not trying to promote the Jungle Cruise movie with this, but I'm still down to do these changes regardless. Once I finally head back to the Orlando parks, I'll definitely give it a go. I could just imagine the kids at the chimp boat reenacting the one viral video, be like, "Oh, monkey on a boat! No!" Oh god, yeah. Oh man, yeah, if there is a viral video about a monkey on a boat, of course you're probably gonna get those idiots just like blaring out that meme. Or then again, worst case scenario, the skipper is gonna do that for you. Like, most likely, if it's not gonna be the kids, it's most likely gonna be the skipper that will do that reference. Anyways. Well, now, a big change for the Jungle Cruise. Now, that is something that's something that's pretty solid for me. I also just like what Disney is doing, like with Splash Mountain, reimagining it to The Princess and the Frog. I am glad this update is not featured in the new movie that's coming soon, and I think the change for the Rhino and explorers on the pole is for the best due to racism of the native explorers that were on the pole for a very long time. I hope Disney is handling COVID-19 so well and following the rules. Yeah, exactly. Like, they are doing what they can, and I still do wish that Florida is shut down. I do hope, like, yeah, like, I know it sounds bad of me for saying, like, yeah, I hope Walt Disney World is shut down, but yeah, like, technically they should have shut their doors like a long time ago, especially since they are in Florida and they are in one of the major hotspots of the world. So, but unfortunately, considering that Florida is run by one of the most incompetent governors in the United States, like, that won't happen. So, I don't know, man. Anyways, let's see. While the Jungle Cruise isn't my favorite ride at Disney World, I do enjoy it, and when I saw the monkeys on the boat, I couldn't help but think that the train scene from Rugrats the movie, where a bunch of monkeys start singing Witch Doctor. And about the movie tie-in thing, it could be that Disney is waiting to see how the movie does first before they include anything from the ride. I don't know, I highly doubt that, because if they were waiting how the movie would do, then they would have waited to do all these major updates. They would have waited after the movie, they would have waited after the movie's success in order to make these updates if they really wanted to go and include any references to the movie. So honestly, yeah, it's not like they'll do a big update on the Jungle Cruise and then suddenly add in the references later. That's, that seems very counterintuitive. You're making one big update and then you're making another big update just for the sake of including the movie. That just makes no sense. So honestly, I would have to disagree with you. I don't think they're going to do the update again just for the sake of adding elements of the movie. Let's see now. I like that update. We are finally getting more character development on the characters we pass by every time we write it. I'm also glad that it's not a direct tie-in to the upcoming movie as well. That did worry me a bit and might affect the ride experience for me, but I am glad it is not happening. I can't wait to ride it again once I get my new annual pass and once Disneyland is open again. Hopefully by late this year, so I could continue making more park vlogs. Fun fact, I first saw the rock... Oh, okay, and the comment stopped. Okay. Anyways, let's go in here. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's mainly monkey on the car. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. The meme is apparently monkey on the car, not monkey on the boat. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm honestly not that familiar with the meme. Anyways, what else we got here? I am definitely excited for this. This is the first time Disney has updated their theme parks in a good way, so hopefully this kind of try, and can't wait to continue move forward. We are only 30% of the theme parks are modeled after the movies, and 70% is all original, so I can't wait to check it out sometime in the near future, like 2023 maybe? Yeah, maybe, who knows? Okay, yeah, I think I'll go and read one more comment before we jump into the last story now. Let's see. I'm very happy this is happening. As someone who has been on the Jungle Cruise and really enjoyed it, this is a nice change of pace for the ride and do something new with it. Also, I'm just happy we aren't going to see a whole bunch of Dwayne Johnson animatronics in the ride. Oh yeah, like that's one of the great things about it, is that thankfully, like, they're not doing like they're not doing like Pirates of the Caribbean, where they're just, they're talking about like Dwayne Johnson's character. It's like, Dwayne Johnson, we must find Dwayne Johnson. We must find Dwayne Johnson. Where's the Rock? Where's the Rock? Where's the Rock? Oh, is that the Rock? No, there's the Rock. Hey, there's the Rock again. They're not doing any of that crap. So that's one thing I'm definitely glad that is off the table. And now it is time that we shall jump into the grand finale. And for our last story that we got, this is something that I love doing every year. It's actually a lot of fun playing this little game, and sometimes we don't always hit the mark, but still, it is always fun to go and guess and try to predict which ones will ultimately get the title, or at least to get the title that is one step closer to getting the title, if you do know what I mean. So don't worry, folks, you will actually be involved with this too, because this is actually going to be a more interactive part of this episode, in which I'm going to be talking about the animated films that have been submitted for the 93rd Academy Awards. Yes, this week, the Oscars has officially revealed the list of submitted movies for some of the categories, including Best International Feature Film, and the one that we are going to be focusing on today, Best Animated Feature. And this year, we actually got a list of 27 animated films. And I'm going to go and read you them one by one. And I'll tell you afterwards about what we are going to do. So, without further ado, the nominees for Best Animated Feature for the 93rd Annual Academy Awards are Accidental Luxuriance of the Translucent Watery Rebus, Bombay Rose, Calamity, The Croods: A New Age, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the Movie Mugen Train, Dream Builders, Earwig and the Witch, Kill It and Leave This Town, Lupin the Third: The First, Mosley, My Favorite War, Nos Ili Zavagor Ner Takik. I think that's how you said that. I don't know. That was the hardest to try to pronounce. Anyways, number 7, Cherry Lane, Ongaku Our Sound, Onward, Over the Moon, Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs, Ride Your Wave, Scoob, A Shaun the Sheep Movie, Farmageddon, Soul, The SpongeBob Movie, Sponge on the Run, Terra Willy, Trolls World Tour, A Whisker Away, The Willoughbys, and finally, Wolfwalkers. Now, what we are going to do right now with this entire list, I actually do have right over here, I have the same list, but this one we can actually go and completely edit. We can actually go and do whatever we want. So what I want to do is that I want to try to analyze each one of these films, and we're going to see what we can guess which ones are going to be nominated for Best Animated Features, or at least we're going to look into which ones are most likely to be nominated and which ones are less likely. Now, before I begin, I just want to put up a big disclaimer that what I'm about to do is just a prediction and nothing more. Now, this doesn't mean that this is going to be the list when it's actually going to come out. There is a very solid chance that not everything is going to hit the mark. Not all my predictions are going to be right. Like, there are some that maybe I'll say that it's not likely this will be nominated, but it might end up getting nominated. So just bear in mind that all this is just a prediction. This is just my theory of what could be nominated and nothing more. Okay, so with that said, let's actually get onto this list right now, and I'm going to go and start things off by, let's make things easier by getting rid of the ones that we for sure know is not going to get nominated. Like, let's go and get rid of those right now that don't even have a chance in the first place. Now, for those ones, let's start things off with the movies that are just not good. Let's just start off by getting rid of the bad films that, yeah, they're not really that great, and they're not really that worthy for an Oscar in the first place, so we can just take them off the list right now. So, let's go and begin by getting rid, of course, what I find to be the worst animated film of 2020, so we're gonna get rid of Scoob. There's no way Scoob is gonna get nominated. Let's see what else. Trolls World Tour. Yeah, that's also another one I don't think is gonna get a nomination. I mean, yeah, the first Trolls did get an Oscar nomination, but that's for Can't Stop the Feeling. The first movie didn't get an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, so I don't think Trolls World Tour would actually get a nomination. Also, I would say the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, there is no way that film is actually going to get nominated. Considering that the first two movies didn't get an Oscar nomination, if that's the case, then there's no way in hell Sponge on the Run would get nominated. And also at the same time, considering that considering that when it comes to animated movies based on TV shows, it's extremely rare, or I don't think it has ever happened that an animated film based on a TV show actually does get nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, which that's why I'm going to say right now, I'm going to get rid of Demon Slayer because, yeah, I know, it's breaking records, and right now, it's, the highest grossing film ever in Japan, but I don't think it's likely that we would actually see Demon Slayer actually get a nomination, so I'm just going to get rid of that one right now. And then, the next ones that I do want to get rid of, and this is the part where, yeah, I'm most likely going to be viewed as a bit of a dick for doing this, but I gotta get rid of many of the international ones and get rid of the ones that not many people has heard of, because if this is the first time you have probably heard about these movies, then it's very unlikely that they would get a nomination. So, from Accidental Luxurious to Calamity, yeah, I gotta get rid of those ones, unfortunately. And it is, it's too bad, because, there definitely is a whole bunch of films that are actually made internationally that are not made in America or not made by an international studio. So I gotta get rid of those. Dream Builders, I don't think so. Gotta get rid of that one too. Kill It and Leave This Town. Yeah, I might as well do exactly that. I gotta go down a massive list from Mosley to Ongaku. Gotta go and take those out too. Yeah, I don't think those got a chance. Then you also got, Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs. I don't think so. I don't think it's likely that it would get a nomination. Terror Willy? No, I don't think so. That ain't getting nominated. And finally, A Whiskers Away. Yep, that's not gonna, I don't think so. I never heard of that one. And I don't think that's gonna be nominated. Again, I know I really sound douchey by doing this, but I'm just being honest about the ones, that will not be nominated. Okay, so those are pretty much the ones that I'm pretty confident are not going to get a nomination for the Oscars. So at least we got those out of the way. But now let's go and go into the ones that for sure we know are getting a nomination. Now let's go into the flip side, and let's get into the ones that we know for a fact that they will be nominated. It doesn't take a psychic to try to predict that those movies will actually get a nomination. And there are two right now that I know will get a nomination for sure. Our first one, of course, is going to be the animated film, your obligatory Disney/Pixar animated film, which in this case is going to be Soul. that one is for sure going to get a nomination, especially when it is a highly praised Pete Docter directed movie. That one is getting nominated, and I'll say right now, it is very likely that it would even win. So, yeah, I'll definitely include Soul. And of course, you need your obligatory independent/international animated film to be nominated, which in this case is Wolfwalkers. Again, that's another one that's been getting a lot of high praise. In fact, it's already been getting some awards for Best Animated Feature and already on the list of many people's top 10s. So, Wolfwalkers would definitely be found on the list. Alright, so those are the two that I know for sure are going to get nominated. And then we got the rest of these. We got the rest of these movies here that we're just going to go one by one because the rest we got are actually the maybes. Those are the ones that I wouldn't be surprised if they're not nominated, but then again, I can actually see why they would actually have a chance to be nominated. So, let's go into them one by one. Let's start things off with The Croods: A New Age. I know it may seem weird that I'm including this one as a maybe, but the reason why I'm saying that it might have a chance is mainly because the first movie did actually get nominated for Best Animated Feature, so there is a possibility that maybe this one would get nominated as well. Not to mention the fact of the recent passing of Cloris Leachman, that might actually give it some leverage where it could have a possibility that the Croods could actually find themselves getting another nomination. So for that one, I would actually give it a bit of a maybe. And then I'm going to go into 3 independent animated features that I have yet to highlight, which in this case includes Earwig and the Witch, and then you got Lupin the Third the First, and finally, we got Ride Your Wave. And the reason why I'm highlighting those 3 in particular as a maybe is because of the fact that they are distributed by G-Kids. Because nowadays, the grand majority of independent animated features that are nominated for an Oscar actually do come from G-Kids. Now, some people may argue that technically excuse me. Alright, there we go. Some people may argue that technically G-Kids already secured a nomination because they are also the distributors of Wolfwalkers. That is true, but it is not impossible for G-Kids to actually get 2 nominations as well. It has happened before where we have seen 2 independent animated features actually getting a nomination. And these films I do feel like they do have a strong chance, especially with films like Lupin the Third the First and Ride Your Wave, where they did get a significant amount of attention on top of that, especially within the anime community. And then you also got Earwig and the Witch, where that one actually does have the added bonus of the fact that it is a Studio Ghibli film. And when it comes to Studio Ghibli, that is actually a studio that more often than not actually does get a nomination for Best Animated Feature. And we've seen that from time to time, like even actually winning an Oscar with Spirited Away. But then it would also go and collect nominations like for Howl's Moving Castle. I think Ponyo got a nomination, but I could be wrong. Then you also got like Arrietty, The Wind Rises, Princess Kaguya, When Marnie Was There. Those actually did get nominations. So, if those Studio Ghibli films... okay, thank you. Yeah, Ponyo did not get nominated. Okay, thank you for that correction. But yeah, as I was saying, that when it comes to Studio Ghibli, yeah, they do actually get a good chance to actually get nominated for an Oscar. So if those can get nominated, then there is a strong possibility maybe Earwig and the Witch can actually get a nomination too. So with those ones out of the way, let's go into our next one, which is Onward. And again, just like with the independent films, sometimes there is a possibility that we do see either 2 Disney animated films, 2 Disney Pixar films, or a mix of like both their movies in one where they would actually get a nomination. And sometimes you would get your mainstream wild card, and sometimes it could be like a second Disney or a second Pixar film, so maybe Onward could actually go and get a chance. Like, I'm just gonna say right now, if it's not gonna be The Croods: A New Age, then it's gonna be Onward. Then after that, what we got is actually gonna be the 2 Netflix animated films that was released this year, Over the Moon and The Willoughbys. And we saw last year that immediately Netflix just became a major contender in the animation field, already starting off with their first animated feature, Klaus, and immediately got a nomination at the Oscars. And it was quite a competitor in the award season, even collecting a whole lot of Annie Awards. But then at the Oscars, it ultimately went to Toy Story 4, which, in my opinion, I think Toy Story 4 well deserved that Oscar. But anyways, going back into this year now with Over the Moon and The Willoughbys, I think it is very much likely that we are going to see a Netflix movie actually get nominated. Or who knows, maybe we will actually see both of them get a nomination. But I am going to state right now, if we are going to see at least one of them, or if only one of them is only going to get a nomination over the other, I think it's going to be more likely Over the Moon will actually get nominated, because the format of that film is a lot more appealing for the Oscars, especially when it is trying to be this Disney-style musical on top of presenting some spectacular animation, probably some of the best animation you can ever find on Netflix. But then again, I will say, however, like, this is not to discredit, this ain't to discredit The Willoughbys, because in my opinion, I actually do find The Willoughbys to be a better movie than Over the Moon. However, in terms of the Oscars, I think Over the Moon actually does have a lot more of a leverage they do have a lot more of a leverage to get a nomination, more so than The Willoughbys, especially when it comes to their respective directors. I mean, on one hand, you got Glenn Keane, who is known to be one of the best animators of our time, one of the legendary Disney animators of the Renaissance era, not to mention that he already did win an Oscar for Dear Basketball with Kobe Bryant. So, like, you got one of the most prolific and revered people in the animation industry. And then on the other hand, you got one of the guys who directed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. So I think one has actually, one's got more leverage at the Oscars than the other. That's all I'm saying, basically. So for me, honestly, I feel like Over the Moon, like, even though I like Willoughby's better, I think Over the Moon actually has a stronger chance to actually be nominated. And then finally, we got our last one, which is going to be a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. Now, debatably, some people could say that when it comes to the Oscars, usually there would be your obligatory stop motion film, where every year, or it feels like every year, we would see there's always at least one Aardman film or one Laika film that would always actually get a nomination no matter what. Right, like, even in the past, when we see, like, with some of their other works as well, rather, like, even with some of their lesser known stuff, like with the Pirates or Missing Link or the Box Trolls or whatever, they would always manage to find a way to secure a nomination. But that doesn't necessarily mean it happens all the time. In fact, when it comes to Aardman, their recent animated feature, Early Man, did not get a nomination. However, when it comes to Farmageddon, on the other hand, I can actually see that it does have some strong potential to actually get nominated. Because not only is this a stop-motion animated feature that did get some relatively good praise when it did get released, but on top of that, it's very similar to The Croods: A New Age, where technically it is a sequel to an Oscar-nominated movie. Remember, back in 2015, with the Shaun the Sheep movie, that did get nominated for an Oscar. So if that can be Oscar-nominated, then maybe this one could as well. And I think it could actually be very likely that it might actually get nominated. So who knows? All right, so I think we've pretty much covered every single movie on this list. Now, the big question remains, however, if I would have to go and predict what are going to be the 5 animated features that will be nominated for Best Animated Feature, which ones are they going to be? And that's honestly going to be a bit of a tough choice. But honestly, if I would have to narrow it down to 5, I'm just going to say right now, my guess is going to be The Croods: A New Age, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Willoughby's. Again, just a quick reminder that this does not necessarily reflect upon what's going to be nominated. This is just a prediction, and I could completely be wrong, but that's what I honestly think is going to be nominated. So we will have to wait and see what the results are going to be. We're not going to hear this in a while, though, because I believe they'll announce the nominations probably in March, because as you probably know, or as you could tell right now, they are heavily delaying the award season, where now it's going to start things off in March and then like continue on to April. So just keep in mind on that. So yeah, those are pretty much my nomination, my guesses. This is my predictions on what could be nominated, but who knows? We'll just have to wait and see if I'm going to be right or wrong, or which ones I'm going to be right and wrong on. All right, so with that said, though, I would like to know from you guys, what do you think is going to be nominated? What are your predictions on what will be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars? Let me know what your guesses are going to be. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm sure we got like plenty to go through. So let's see. One says, okay, someone is saying Soul, Wolfwalkers, either Over the Moon or the Willoughbys, Earwig and the Witch, and maybe Shaun the Sheep 2. Okay, so that's one. One is also saying a little bit of the same thing. Yeah, pretty much the same thing as mine. Soul, Wolfwalkers, Over the Moon, The Cruise of New Age, and Shaun the Sheep. Let's see. We got another one is Onward, Over the Moon, Soul, The Willoughbys, and Wolfwalkers. Ooh, giving more credit. Okay, giving more credit to Netflix. One is saying Onward, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. All right. Well, some people really are going for. Some people are really going for Onward. Okay. Let's see. I've only seen Onward, Scoob, Farmageddon, Sponge on the Run, Trolls World Tour, and The Willoughbys, so I have no idea who's going to be nominated or who is going to win. The most of my mind would probably be Farmageddon. Maybe Soul would win, but I have not seen it because we don't have Disney Plus where I live. By the way, Matt, I noticed you didn't enlist Bobbleheads the movie. Then again, it would never have a chance to be nominated anyways. Yeah, well, Bobbleheads the movie is not even on this list, so I mean, like this ain't me. This is just the submitted films, so that's the list. So that's not me trying to ignore Bobbleheads the movie. Let's see. My 5 choices would be Soul, Wolfwalkers, Lupin the Third the First, a Shaun the Sheep movie, and The Willoughbys. Also, a news story you didn't mention is that Luke Evans will play the coachman in the Pinocchio live-action remake. Is Disney trying to get a Tumblr once lure fangirls or what? Yeah, I know. I was very close to talking about that one, but again, I had to go and make some sacrifices, unfortunately. Let's see now. If I had to guess, Soul and Wolfwalkers will definitely be nominated, though it might be hard to know who will win. Wolfwalkers is a good indie movie with a unique art style that I would love to see Cartoon Saloon make an animated adaptation of Dragon Age, maybe a Game of Thrones style series, whereas Soul is basically a serious version of the classic Red versus Blue line. You ever wonder why we're here? Well, then again, you ever wonder why we're here is a quote from many different things. It's not just Red versus Blue. Let's see. I bet the nominees will be a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, and Pixar's Soul, and Over the Moon, and Trolls World Tour, and The Willoughbys will be nominated, and Pixar's Soul will win. Okay, interesting. We got someone adding in Trolls World Tour. Let's see. If I had to make my predictions, I would have to say Over the Moon, Onward, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. I think the Willoughbys have a better chance at being nominated at the Annies, and the only place Sponge on the Run will be nominated is the Kids' Choice Awards. Yeah, honestly, I got a feeling that you could be correct. Like, the Willoughbys will definitely be a lot more prominent at the Annies, more so than it will be at the Oscars. I can agree with you on that. All right, I'll go a few more, and then that's pretty much it. Let's see. We got Cruise the New Age, Onward, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. Okay. One more. So let's see. Soul, Wolfwalkers, A Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Lupin the Third the First, and Over the Moon. And for me, I am rooting for Soul to win, but no matter what happens, I wish all these animated movies the best of luck. And what a nice way to go and cap this one off. And with that said, that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And I just want to say thank you all so much for joining me on this. This was definitely a fun-filled episode. And tune in next week for more great stories to go and cover on AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, because you know that even if we're in a new year, the craziness never ends. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.